Well, I guess I'm gonna be on this couch for a while. Well, I don't know. I could move all this stuff back to my desk, but I've been doing these gaming streams for a couple now, and I think I'm gonna do another one, well, tonight being Monday night. And it is a little bit of a pain in the ass lugging all of this stuff back and forth, and until I decide one way or the other if I'm gonna keep doing these streams, I think I'm gonna keep it out here for now. Anyway, on to the topic at hand. So for those of you who aren't aware, I've done several videos on copyright already, usually as it pertains to YouTube, and as it pertains to the music industry very often. And my stance back in one of my previous videos is that I think that copyright should go away, copyright is awful, and also that intellectual property is a misnomer, which I do believe that it still is a misnomer. Over the last year or so of talking with people and having to go through some of my own real life circumstances myself, I think I've moved on that position slightly. Now I'm gonna get into that in a little bit, but before we address that, let's address some of these frickin' dumb commenters. A number of commenters on these videos try to say like, well, you socialist, capitalism says blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, dude, you have no clue what the hell you're talking about. Or no, better yet, they're calling me a communist. They're calling me a communist. I think the specific verbiage for one guy says, that's the law of capitalism, and I about shit my pants with laughter. These guys watch an episode of Sean Hannity and suddenly think that they're economics experts. If you know anything about philosophy and where capitalism has actually come from, it comes from the philosophy known as liberalism. Mike, why are you talking about politics? I'm not talking about politics, I'm talking specifically about philosophy, which should underpin not only your politics, but how you live your life in general, and in this case, my thoughts on the copyright system. So when I say the word liberalism, people think liberals in America being all progressive and shit. The word liberal has its root from the philosophy of liberalism, which has its root from the word liberty. Modern day leftists in America want nothing to do with liberty. They want everything to do with equality of outcome, which is a completely different discussion. The point being, the great liberal philosophers birthed what would become capitalism as an economic system. Liberalism and capitalism are absolutely intertwined. So if you're going to take things to their ideological extreme with liberalism, that would be an absolute anarchic society. This is what we refer to as anarcho-capitalism. Basically, there is no state, there is only individual determination. Any amount of governance is not done through monopolization of force. They define the state as an organization that has a monopoly of force. So all human interactions would be voluntary. That's their basic premise. Now, if we compare this philosophy to what I had already discussed are the economic realities of music and it being inherently valueless, the market alone will determine that digital music is literally worth next to nothing. It's worth less than the fractions of pennies that these guys get paid per stream. They're actually getting better than market value. The only reason why people are being paid at all for digital music is specifically because of the state. Copyright law isn't just a fuzzy thing that makes us feel good that we're doing something that we feel is justice, making sure that the artist gets paid for their work. It's a law, which means that that law is backed up by the gun of the government. So no, in a real free market, purely capitalist society, that information would be freely exchanged for no payment, unless you have a way of limiting people's access and putting it behind a paywall. You have to do that yourself. You don't use the state to do that. So no, having music be given away for free is actually the most capitalist thing you could possibly do within the ideas of liberalism and letting the market dictate the value or price of something. What you are advocating is a mixed economy, using the government as a way to ensure that artists get paid. Now, with my current position, I'm not necessarily going to fully disagree with you, but at the same point, do not call me a communist, you dumbass. Like, when I hear that stuff, I'm just like, the lack of knowledge, like the lack of research, dear Lord. Your position actually leans closer to communism than my position, which is government mandated redistribution of wealth. Anyway, having disclosed all that, so I fall more towards the liberalism side of philosophy personally, not only in how I try to live my life, but how I do business, how I view business, how I view the economy. I think that allowing the market to work itself out is the best and healthiest way of bringing about prosperity. Now, it's not necessarily the best way of bringing about morality. That's a different thing. I am not an anarcho-capitalist. I believe that the state does serve a purpose, and I even think that the state should be involved to some degree in ensuring that artists get paid for something. But I think that having copyright as it stands right now is not only unfair, but it is creating this monopoly. This is what happens when you start getting big businesses involved with the government. Monopolies and oligopolies start to form. Suddenly the competition disappears. Copyright is absolutely keeping these large media companies in the space that they're in right now, abusing more people than you could possibly imagine, getting far richer than they should be getting, and dictating to us from on high what we should believe, what we should consume, all while making us think that we're actually making a choice for ourselves. I think if you pulled away copyright completely and replaced it with a law that, one, mandates that the person who actually came up with this idea or who created this work or whatever is credited, I think that's absolutely necessary. And yeah, the market could work itself out. I did have Jeffrey Tucker on one of my early podcasts, and he, I think, was using the example of Pergolesi's in Italian, I believe it was classical era. Go check out that podcast. It was actually quite fascinating, great subject matter, an actual liberal. But, you know, Pergolesi was he rich? I don't remember if he was rich or not. But his point being is people have an innate wanting for authenticity, and I agree with that. But I think there's far too much opportunity for abuse by really, really bad actors that you couldn't necessarily at least say, okay, this person needs to be credited. Because of that want for authenticity, you kind of give it a little bit of a leap of like, oh, no. This is the person responsible. So whoever is shelling this out as their own, or shelling this out as a way of promoting their own brand by using someone else's work and trying to profit from that, the money will start to flow in the direction of the person who actually made the work. I don't know what all the specific details of that would be, but I think there should be something on a base level that should be there. Credit. Now, next is where I'm a little unsure, but I think this is how I feel about it. I do think music should be given away for free from the artist in a digital platform, just because, I mean, you're not gonna make that much money from it anyway. Your fans will appreciate it. If they really want to give you money, they have several ways that they can give you money. That's going to be a lot more enriching for you in the long run anyway. But, you know, say a platform like Spotify emerges. Spotify has an absolute profit motive to make money off of other people's work, and all they did was compile it and run some servers. Yes, I think Spotify, just with any modicum of an idea of justice, should share that profit with the people who actually brought that to them. Without those people's hard work, Spotify would not make money. However, for something like torrenting, the people who throw torrents up there don't make any money off of it. They're just like, I'm just sharing this with the world because I like it, other people like it, we all want to consume it. You would have to create a far too over-dominating police state over the entire world in order to stop that type of proliferation of digital media. It's far too easy to steal and distribute, steal in quotes, and get an access for free. So at that point, you have to think of different ways of incentivizing people to give you money. And no, I don't think people sharing music should be illegal. That's all you're doing. You're just sharing music with people. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Now, yeah, does it cut into the artist's profits? Absolutely. But that's the nature of the market. In a truly free market, stuff would be shared online for free because you can. It's called praxeology, the study of human action. Go look it up. And I think that that's fine. I think that actually revolutionizes things so that more people have more access to better music or better information. The reason why we've seen the rise of so many niche artists is because of this unbridled, ridiculously wide mass distribution for very, very cheap. That's worth way more to them than selling MP3s or getting the 1,000,000th of a penny. So yeah, people like Spotify who actually have a direct profit motive, yeah, I think that they should pay artists. But people like LimeWire, or not LimeWire, like torrents or whatever, screw it. Let them do their thing. They're not standing to make any money off of it. They just want to share. You might not think it's fair. That's fine. Find a better way of funding your business. If you as an artist have to rely on the government in order for you to make a living, you're probably bad at your job. And by the way, most of these artists who do rely on the government to keep them rich don't actually need the government to make them successful. If Taylor Swift never got paid for a stream, she would still be a multi-millionaire. She just happens to have extra multi-millions because of it. And no, up-and-coming artists don't make shit from streams. And you know what? There's still new bands that become famous every day. It's almost like you could give it away for free and it wouldn't change shit. Now, this is the one conundrum I have with myself, because in order to be ideologically consistent here, it doesn't just apply to music, that also applies to movies, video. There is a channel right now who has completely taken my whole music video for Hooked on a Feeling and re-uploaded it on their channel. This is the video that was uploaded by this YouTube channel called Respect the Music, ironically enough. And there's no credit of me down in the description. Now this does have my branding on the front of it, so kind of hard to miss that. But still, not even a link. Like, this is metal cover by Guardians of the Galaxy. What the fuck is the matter with you? And yeah, I'm not the only one he's done this to. If you go to his video page here, all he basically does is freeboot a whole bunch of stuff that he didn't make. He credits everyone else but me. Literally everyone. The first thing in the description is the name of their fucking... it's the name of their band. Mine, I was just Hooked on a Feeling metal cover. Fuck you, kid. In a sense, he is doing exactly what I described. Instead of it being with music, it's done with my video. So no, I did not issue a copyright claim or anything like that and ask him to take it down, although he really should. In this particular instance, he's not making any money off of it, so I'm just like, whatever. But if he did start to make money off of it, that'd be a different story. Which is where I draw the distinction between it's on YouTube, where there is an actual profit motive, versus someone just sharing this just to share it out of love. Which, if he really wanted to do that, they have this wonderful feature called a share button. So in all reality, he is using my work and other people's work just to build his brand. That is shitty. Now on the flip side, just because I don't necessarily want the government involved when it comes to this type of stuff, or at least I don't want them involved this much, that doesn't mean that you cannot have free market solutions to this. YouTube's solution is the copyright content ID system, which, I mean, for all of its faults, does do some good things. One of the technologies that's so untapped right now that I think is going to truly revolutionize the music industry and just about all other industries is blockchain technology. There is potential for basically any time a song gets played, that gets registered across the entire blockchain, and that marker ID goes back to that artist and they get paid for it. There's no guns involved. You don't have to take part in this platform. You can leave anytime you want, but there's still a sense of justice being served, if that makes any sense. And there's still probably a very easy way to take it to the consumer, either for free via advertising or for very, very cheap via subscription. So I have moved slightly on my position, but not that far. I'd be very interested to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Rock on!